Hello, my name is Alicia LaPolla, and I'm the Associate Dean at Messina College. Maybe you've seen me many times already. Maybe you've never seen me before. I've met so many of you already as we are admitting students and getting to know you. And it's been such a pleasure talking to all of you and your families as you are preparing to arrive at Messina this summer. As you know, this is the third webinar that we are offering for our incoming students, as we know you have many questions as you are getting ready to attend Boston College this summer. And today's session is focusing on career services and working at Boston College. We know you have a lot of questions about this, both in the short term, what's it going to look like as soon as you get on campus, and in the long term, BC and beyond. So I'm joined today by my colleagues, Eriliza Guerrero-Andre from Student Employment, Rebecca Cegledy from Campus Recreation, and Tara Raposa from Career Services. And they're going to be chatting with you about the different aspects of career and working at BC. If you have a question at any time, you can put it in the Q&A box that you see there. We'll get to questions kind of on a periodic basis, and we'll sort of answer them as best we can, as quickly as we can. But first, I'm going to start by introducing Eriliza Guerrero-Andre from the Office of Student Employment. Eriliza, you can take it away.
Thank you, Alicia. Hello, everybody. My name is Eriliza Guerrero-Andre, and I'm the Associate Director of Student Employment. I am stationed in Lyons Hall, right on the main campus, so not too far away from Messina. And if we go over to the next slide, I will give you an intro of what Boston College Student Employment is like and what that is about and some of the basics of that program. So essentially student employment, which is currently situated within the Office of Student Services, it administers all aspects and all types of student employment programs through the Federal Work Study program, as well as on-campus programs that are suitable for student employment here at BC. And we are essentially the central hub of all student employment programs here on campus. There are two types of student employment programs at Boston College. They are the Federal Work Study and on-campus student employment, which is considered non-work study. And students can work during the academic year, which encompasses of the fall and spring semesters, as well as during the summer employment periods. Right now, we are culminating the current 23-24 academic year employment period, and we're heading into our summer 24 student employment period, which is scheduled to begin officially on May 19th, right after the BC commencement. Students are eligible to apply for all opportunities listed on the student employment website, regardless of federal work study or financial aid eligibility. Federal work study eligibility or awarding is not required for you to work on campus, and we can talk a bit more about in detail what the federal work study program is and how students can be eligible for that. But then if you go on to the next slide, we can talk about what the benefits of BC student employment is. And what the benefits are. So one of them is the greatest one, gain practical work experience that can help build your resume. It also gives you the opportunity to learn valuable skills and develop a professional network, as well as potential future references. So if you secure an on-campus student employment position and you go on in your first and second year working at that department, you'll develop your supervisor as a potential future reference for life beyond BC. It could be for another employment opportunity that you may be considering, or for applying to other schools or other programs here at BC as well. Another benefit of a on-campus BC student employment is that it offers flexibility to accommodate work and class schedules. So a lot of supervisors on campus, they're very accommodating in terms of enabling you to work at hours that you're not taking classes. So let's say if you're taking classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they'll be able to be flexible and accommodate your schedule for you to work, let's say Tuesday and Thursday, or any other day that you're readily available to work, so that you can focus on your studies and your academic course load here at BC. And the last and very important one, ability to earn money to help pay for educational expenses. So your on-campus student employment job will allow you to make some money while you pursue your educational endeavor here at BC. And let's talk about the Federal Work Study Program. Basically, the Federal Work Study Program is a federally subsidized employment program that is awarded to domestic students and who are U.S. citizens, U.S. nationals, and lawful permanent residents as part of their financial aid. So let's say you submit your FAFSA and other documentation that is required to complete your financial aid application, and the Federal Work Study is a need-based program along with any other forms of financial aid. If you qualify and are eligible to receive the Federal Work Study along with your other need-based financial aid, you'll get awarded Federal Work Study as part of your financial aid. And opportunities that are subsidized under the Federal Work Study program may be on and off campus, including community service positions, and opportunities through off campus are limited to nonprofit organizations as well as public city government entities that would like to partner with our school through the off-campus work study program and hire students with available Federal Work Study funds as part of their financial aid to be able to work there. So it does enhance your opportunity options a bit beyond the on-campus opportunities. So it's very good for those that do qualify for Federal Work Study and are able to take advantage of this wonderful ability to be able to work off campus to these great organizations. So students with Federal Work Study awards will see Federal Work Study and Summer Work Study as part of their listed financial aid awards through their award portal. And I'm sure some of you who are financial aid recipients may have already been awarded financial aid, including Federal Work Study. So this is how you can view that information. Federal Work Study awards are earned in the form of a paycheck. One important thing to note, because there's a lot of common misconceptions where students think that Federal Work Study is a form of financial aid that is directly paid to my student account bill to help pay for my student tuition balance, and that's not the case. So you can only utilize Federal Work Study if you find a job on campus or through an off-campus Federal Work Study program and actually submit hours and work and get a paycheck. So that's the only way that you are able to utilize Federal Work Study. So to be eligible for Federal Work Study, students must demonstrate federal financial need eligibility by submitting the free application for federal student aid, also known as a FAFSA, for each academic year, and also be enrolled in a degree-seeking program at least half-time or greater. So let's talk about the other option, campus student employment, non-Federal Work Study. If you're not eligible for Federal Work Study as part of your financial aid, no problem. Students who are not eligible for work study can also work in any student job on campus. So students do not necessarily have to be eligible for Federal Work Study or be a financial aid applicant to work on campus. So students who work on campus without Federal Work Study are financial aid recipients with no Federal Work Study or Summer Work Study as part of their financial aid award. Must be U.S. citizens, U.S. nationals, lawful permanent residents who are not applying or seeking any federal or institutional financial aid, and they're international and foreign students with F1 or J1 visas. So keep in mind that even if you're not eligible for Federal Work Study, you still must be legally authorized to work in the U.S. in order to work on campus. In terms of student job postings, all student jobs are posted on the job listing section of our student employment website. Summer job listings are available beginning in April, and academic year job listings are available beginning in early June. So which gives, especially for fall semester openings, it gives students plenty of time between June and August when they begin their fall term classes to search for any on-campus job opportunities and give them the time to submit resumes, cover letters for these positions that are posted, and interview with their potential on-campus employers before they officially begin in the fall. And students can view each job posting along with the corresponding hourly rates, the description of duties and responsibilities, as well as the very important professional skills and competencies that each student will develop in their student employment roles. And this is all comes from the Eagle Path Initiative program, and which you can access at that link for more information. And the most common student jobs are in BC Dining Services, the Recreation Center. My colleague Becca Cegledy is here to talk about what she does at the Rec Center, athletics, university advancement and fundraising, and also information technology services, and also known as techie jobs. So in terms of the hourly student wage structure, all BC student employees are offered a wage that is in accordance with the university's established hourly student wage guidelines. So all student jobs are categorized in grades and hourly rates based on the level of skills, responsibilities, as well as any prior experience that is required to perform that particular job. And you'll see what the rates are per grade level and job class code. And in terms of the maximum number of hours per week during the academic year, because this is when students are taking a full course load, they may work up to 20 hours per week, and may also work up to 29 hours per week during the holiday and spring breaks when they're not taking any classes. And during the summer, students can work up to 40 hours per week, and they can work 30 or more hours up to 40 hours per week, but they may not work that amount of hours for more than 12 weeks during the summer. And international students on F1 and J1 visas, they may work up to 20 hours per week if they're taking classes as per their visa regulations. And this is the aggregate limit that applies to all BC on-campus compensated work combined. In terms of interviewing and hiring, students must contact the department directly to apply for each available job posting and schedule interviews. This is important because a lot of students contact our office and with the thought that we arrange interviews and we also secure jobs for them. It is important to know that students do have to find the jobs directly themselves by directly contacting the department that's posting the position. And the BC Career Center, my colleague Tara Raposa is here from the Career Center. They are a great resource for helpful resume, cover letter, and interviewing tips. So as you're thinking of applying for on-campus jobs, and if you ever need help with your resume and cover letter and how to interview, the Career Center is a great resource for that. So you can feel free to schedule an appointment with a career coach. They're very ready to help. And students must be offered a job before completing any onboarding forms with the Office of Student Employment. In that way, they have to be offered a job in order for them to move on to the required onboarding forms. So the list of required onboarding forms are the Form I-9, which is the employment eligibility verification. And this is a 3-part form, which encompasses of the required onboarding form for new student employees, and the payroll form statement, which essentially indicates how many hours students are allowed to work each week at Boston College. And also the federal Form W-4, which is the federal employee tax withholding certificate. This is completed online, not on paper. So once students are hired and active on the payroll system, they'll have access to the portal that will enable them to complete the W-4, the Massachusetts M4 tax withholding certificates, and also sign up for direct deposit for payroll. And in terms of the Form I-9, so this form is a paper form that must be completed in person in Lyons Hall 103 at the main Chestnut Hill campus at the Office of Student Services. So the purpose of this form is to verify identity and eligibility to work in the U.S. Must be legally authorized to work in the United States in order to complete an I-9 and be employed at Boston College, which is a U.S. employer. So by federal law, all U.S. employers, including Boston College, must have their employees complete the Form I-9 in order to verify their identity as well as work authorization in the U.S. All new employees, including students, are required to complete the I-9 within 3 business days of starting employment. We are required to see the original and unexpired documents when students come in to do their I-9s. We don't accept photocopies or scan copies or fax copies of their documentation. It has to be in the actual original format. Students and hiring managers receive confirmation emails once the Form I-9 requirement is satisfied and complete, which then enables the department to proceed with the processing of the hiring of the students. So the big question is, who is legally authorized to work in the United States? So there is a list of 4 different citizenship categories that are allowed to legally work here in the US. So the first one is US citizens from all 50 states, including Puerto Rico, non-citizen nationals of the United States, which are individuals who come from American Samoa Islands, the US Virgin Islands, lawful permanent residents, also known as green card holders, and then aliens authorized to work in the United States. The most common student employee examples are students who are granted asylum or refugees, students with unexpired work permits or employment authorization document cards, deferred action for childhood arrivals or DACA recipients, and current international F1 and J1 visa students. So those are the common student employee individuals that fall under the aliens authorized to work in the US. So these are the 4 categories of citizenship statuses that are legally authorized to work in the US. So the federal W-4 and state M-4 tax withholding forms. So all student wages are subject to both federal and state income tax. One very important thing to know, because oftentimes a lot of students, they think that they work 10 hours a week, and then they will receive the gross payment on their paycheck. And the answer is, depending upon what withholding exemptions they claim on their federal and Massachusetts tax withholding certificates, that's how much taxes gets taken out of their check. So that's one thing that's important to note. And then on the left, you'll see the federal W-4 tax form and what the purpose of that form is, to determine the correct federal income tax withholding and what steps to complete, whichever is applicable to you. Every individual, every student's tax situation is different, so it's important to read what the W-4 tax withholding form questions are, and depending upon your tax situation, how many jobs you hold, either on campus or at an organization outside of BC, to be able to indicate what the correct amount of federal income tax should be withheld from a paycheck. And then also on the right side, you'll see the Massachusetts M4 tax withholding form instruction. So it determines how much we can deduct in Massachusetts or state income tax. And depending upon how much money you'll earn within a year, and the threshold, you'll get an X amount of Massachusetts income tax withheld. And direct deposit for payroll. So students, once they get hired and are active on payroll, students will have the access and the link for them to be able to sign up for direct deposit for payroll. They'll indicate which bank account they'll want their paycheck to be direct deposited to. So instead of having to go to the HR Service Center payroll office to pick up their physical paper check, they can conveniently sign up for direct deposit for payroll, which is the BC's preferred method of payment for all employees, including students. It's safe and it's the quickest method to receive payment directly deposited. And if you're not paid by direct deposit, or if you didn't get to sign up for direct deposit for payroll in time when your first paycheck is issued to you, then a paper check is issued and you'll need to pick it up at the HRC directly during your regular business hours. It's important to know that direct deposit for payroll is not the same as direct deposit for student account refund. So let's say if you have a credit balance on your tuition bill, you'll get your student account refund directly deposited to you in your bank account. Keep in mind that that information that is stored for student account refund is not the same for direct deposit for payroll for your student employment paycheck. So you'll have to sign up through PeopleSoft HR through a separate mechanism for you to get your paychecks directly deposited to you. And any questions or issues that you come across direct deposit for payroll can be directed to the HRC and payroll office directly. In terms of time off and meal breaks, so students who work on campus, because we are BC's and Massachusetts employer, so there's certain things that we have to buy by Massachusetts law. So one of them are meal breaks that is applicable to any individual who works for any Massachusetts employer, and that includes student workers here at BC. So employees who are working more than 6 hours are entitled to a meal break, and workers have a right to at least a 30-minute meal break for each 6 hours worked in a calendar day. So let's say if you work 6 hours in any given day, you're entitled to at least half an hour break. We usually give students, depending upon where they work and which department they work for and what the coverage needs are, we give at least 30 minutes, but if not, we can always give them an hour too. So meal breaks are unpaid. You must, by Massachusetts law, be free of all duties and free to leave the workplace during your meal break. And then you do have the option to work throughout your break, but you'll have to let your supervisor know, and that has to be paid. And another time off that student employees are eligible for is earned sick time. So per Massachusetts law, thank Massachusetts for all these perks, BC student employees are allowed to accrue and use earned sick time during the summer employment period. And part of the reason why it's limited to the summer is because by Massachusetts law, individuals have to be not exempt from FICA in order for them to get earned sick time. So since students are exempt from FICA tax during the academic year, they're not eligible to accrue or use earned sick time during the academic year. It has to be during the summer. And earned sick time is accrued at a rate of 1 hour for every 30 hours worked during the summer, and may begin using earned sick time during the summer, 90 calendar days after starting to work here at BC. And any unused or accrued sick time may be carried forward to the next summer if the student will be working at BC next summer. And one important thing to note is that the university does not pay out or cash out any unused accrued sick time. And jury duty, which is per Massachusetts law, a student employee who receives a summons to appear for jury duty on the day that he or she is scheduled to work has to be paid for the time or amount of hours that the student was scheduled to work that day. Students are compensated for the time or hours they appear for jury duty, so it's important to let your supervisors know if you're called upon to serve on jury duty on a day that you were initially scheduled to work, that you'll be at jury duty and you'll be compensated for that time that you are serving jury duty. And these are a list of helpful resources that are certainly very helpful to you in terms of what employment regulations are at the federal level, and also at the state level. I provided another slide with helpful list of resources as well in terms of what I talked about in terms of Massachusetts laws and federal laws that impact employment authorization eligibility, as well as any other laws that are applicable to you as a student worker. And these are the state regulation resources as well that you can use as a reference and a guide. And other campus resources for payroll, tax forms, or pay stub questions, you can, as I mentioned earlier, contact BC Human Resources Service Center, also known as our payroll office. They're located at the Brighton campus at 129 Lake Street. Their phone number is listed there, as well as their email. If you have any questions about your pay stub or direct deposit for payroll issues, as well as your W-2, if you work here at BC during this calendar year, and when you file taxes next year, For this current calendar year, there'll be the office that will generate those forms for all students, so this is a good helpful contact to have in case you get to that point. And for resume, cover letter, and interviewing tips, you can contact our colleagues at the Career Center. Their website is there, as well as their phone number and email address. And for federal work study and other financial aid eligibility questions, you can contact Student Services/Financial Aid Office. Their website link is there, as well as their office phone and the email address. And you can also contact your individual assigned financial aid counselors if you already have been getting in touch with one, for questions in relation to your federal work study eligibility. And that is it.
Thank you so much, Eriliza. I really appreciate that. Students, if you do have questions, feel free to include them into the Q&A box, as I said. But for now, I'm going to toss it over to Rebecca Cegledy from Campus Recreation, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Rebecca, you can feel free to share if you'd like.
Let me see if I can do this. Apologize. Awesome. Well, good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Rebecca Cegledy Mason. I am your Campus Recreation Director here at Boston College. I'm excited to talk to you this evening because we are one of the larger employers on campus. We employ over 450 to 600 students annually, and we cannot operate without you. So that's the biggest thing to understand is most of our operations on campus, we are not able to do that unless we have student employment. So I'm greatly appreciative of all of our student staff, and I'm excited to talk to you about our opportunities. We do a lot of different things within our department. So it gives you an opportunity to explore things that maybe you're passionate about. If you enjoy sports, we have intramural officials. If you're more somebody that enjoys marketing, we actually have a marketing street team. So you can get direct skills through working on campus that can benefit you in the long run in your job and your career. In addition to that, we have anything from swiping IDs coming into our facility, lifeguarding, anything that you need as a certification or any specific training, we provide that for you. So any job is actually, you're eligible for all of them. If you want to become a yoga instructor, if you want to teach spin classes so you can work out and get paid at the same time, that is another opportunity that we have. We will have opportunities on Messina College itself on Brookline campus, as we will have a gym space in that area, but you're also more than welcome to work on our main campus over at the Margot Cannell Recreation Center, and also on our Newton campus. We do have a Kwanzaa hut. Our operation is 365. We do have operations during the summer and all throughout the academic year. So whether you're around now or even going into July or going into the academic year, we can work with those timeframes that you are able to work. We open from 6 a.m. and we close at 11:45 at night. So if you're a morning person, we have some time for you. If you want to come in at 5:30 with our assistant director, Terry, he would gladly greet you in the morning. Or if you want to work until close, again, our staff would gladly have you with them as well. You're going to be serving your other fellow students across campus as well, again, because we cannot do this without you. Again, fitness attendance, outdoor adventure, if anybody wants to learn to become a trip leader, those are the types of job and employment opportunities that we have. But the biggest thing about that is also developing you as the whole person, right? That's what BC is about. So it's more than just the job. It's what skills, transferable skills can you learn throughout this employment opportunity with us that you can take with you to put on your resume and to take with you for the rest of your life. We do things, if you're in education, you're looking to become a teacher, we offer summer camp. So it's a great opportunity for people to kind of get into the education space and oversee youth. We offer youth swim lessons as well. We need instructors for that. So any tie-in, again, marketing is there, business, we offer a position within our business office that you're going to do reconciliation, you're going to do purchasing, all across the board. And then also with our friends in career services, as an opportunity when you are looking for employment within our office, we go through mock interviews with you. We help you with your resume. So we want you to submit the resume and the cover letter. And we understand it may be the first time you're doing this, but it's an opportunity for us to help you develop your skills and the things that you would need going on into the future. We do a lot of retainment. So a lot of our freshmen end up working through senior year and even into grad school with us. So we do see that year to year, you're with that cohort, you're with those students. The other opportunity for us is just identifying, and Eriliza had said it earlier, we recognize that you're students first. So your main priority is to get your Boston College, Messina College education with us. So when their exam schedules are coming up, we actually change our hours and we accommodate for you all. So you may not get that if you're going to an off-campus position, with that recognition, understanding, and supporting you through those times, as well as understanding, you know, it may be family weekend, or it might be a football game or something like that that you want to attend. We work with you to find subs. We work with you, again, to support you in your whole development, not necessarily just within the positions, again, recognizing your students and people first. Another thing about that, I'm going to show you. So this is our campus recreation website. So bc.edu/rec. As Eriliza was saying before, you can go to their website and it'll list all of the different opportunities they have on campus. But if you come to us, and I apologize, I'm going to hit about on campus recreation, and then we slide over to student employment. This will update. So for campus recreation very specifically, and others throughout campus also have this, they're going to have a current openings page. So now hiring, now accepting applications. So if you click on our marketing team one, it'll drop down and it'll show you all the essential duties and responsibilities, qualifications, if any, potentially the pay rate that will be updated, Eriliza, I promise, and then who to contact for that specific position. Again, we have a wide variety of opportunities within our area. And again, you will get on the job training for all of these positions as well. And we do, again, employ over 450 students on campus, and I think it's a wonderful experience. Our counterparts in dining services as well, they do a wonderful job in developing you into different careers. Everybody on campus, we kind of work together. The other big thing to note is if you do work for us for 20 hours a week, that's the max across campus. So if you're in that academic year and you're working for campus recreation and dining services, combined total would be 20 hours a week. So make sure that you're working with your direct supervisors if you're going to work in multiple areas to understand that and note those restrictions on there. I'm going to plug one more thing if Alicia lets me. As students within Boston College and Messina College, you do have access to all of our recreation facilities as soon as you do become students. Again, that main page, bc.edu/rec. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, just plugging all of our stuff here. This first time or full-time undergraduate requirement, that includes you all. You're going to go to your BC Agora portal, and that's where you need to sign your waiver to activate your membership. So make sure that you go into that space prior to getting on campus. Anytime after graduation, it will be live with the updated one for this year. If you do that, then you're active. And then when you start working for us, you'll be able to get into all of the spaces that you would need to. If you have any questions, please let me know. I think for us, to be honest, across all of campus, what we're really looking for in students are people that are going to show up, people that are going to be on time, that they're going to respect each other. And you're also, it's kind of challenging, to be honest with you, and it's a great life experience because you're going to be enforcing policies and rules with your peers. So when you come into the facility, you're going to say they have to have your ID, they have to be respectful, they have to do all the things that they're supposed to be doing. And also there's opportunities where you're going to be certified in CPR, first aid, and AED. We've had 3 instances this year where we had to use the AED in our facility. So somebody that may be looking into healthcare, we have a lot of nurses on our staff that helped in that situation. But again, if you want to become certified, we will pay for the certifications that you need in the positions that you need within our department as well. And I think that goes across the board at any place at Boston College. Whatever you need for the position, they're going to help you get certified and give you the training that you need to succeed in these positions. I think that's all I have, Alicia.
Great, thank you so much. Wonderful, thank you. And finally, let me just share my screen again. I'm going to ask Tara to jump right in. Tara, go ahead.
Sure, thanks. Good evening. I'm Tara Raposa. I am one of the career coaches at the Boston College Career Center. I appreciate the plugs that we received earlier in the presentation. And so I want to spend a little bit of time today just giving a high-level overview of how the BC Career Center is going to be able to support Messina College students over their 2 years And really beyond that, we actually see students for up to 5 years after they graduate. So we really have a commitment to the success of our students. And the other point I want to try to illustrate, hopefully in my slides, is that sometimes people hear Career Center and I think it has sort of like an intimidating vibe to it, but we're super approachable. It's a great staff. We really want students to feel welcome, kind of come as you are. So hopefully that sort of comes across as we go through these slides. So we'll talk a little bit about our mission so you kind of understand what our values are and how we sort of hope to show up for our students. I'll talk about the services that we're able to provide. I know it can be a little bit confusing because there's on-campus jobs, there's off-campus jobs, there's work study, there's internships, there's jobs after you graduate. So to be clear, the Career Center provides support around all of those things. So anything related to work, you're able to seek support from the Career Center. I will go over some of our resources that tend to be especially popular with students and give you sort of an overview. And then finally, most of you probably know as Messina College students, you are going to be connected with an internship in your second year. So I'll give a few details about that. And then of course, if there's any questions, we'll have some time for that at the end. So the first point I want to make, so our mission is to help students pursue careers and lives of meaning and purpose. So we purposely put in their lives and careers. We don't want students just to be focusing on what work will look like for them. Everything tells us that people that focus on developing meaningful work and figuring out what their own values are and how they can connect that to their future work, that is what leads to the greatest amount of happiness. So we try to really make students understand that, yes, we are the place you can come to talk about career. Yes, we can talk about salary and money and all of that is important, but we also want to have those other conversations about what do you picture a life of meaning looking like for you? And that is a very individualized discussion because what it looks like for one person will be very different than what it looks like for somebody else. So this is the model that we sort of approach our work with. It's called Explore, Prepare, Act, and the gears here sort of represent that. What we find is that sometimes students, they might tend to sort of skip over this explore piece of things. We feel like that's the very first step students should take, and that explore can mean a couple of different things. So yes, you're going to be exploring careers, you'll be exploring jobs and different occupations, but it also is about exploring a little bit about yourself. So we think the first step should really be about some reflection about what are your own values, what are your own skills, where are your strengths. When you take a little bit of time to sort of assess those sorts of things, it can make the rest of the process a lot easier. So once we sort of work with students to kind of do some reflection and then some initial exploration about areas of interest to them, then we sort of transition into this prepare piece, which is what students might think about when you think about the Career Center. More like we'll help you work on your resume. We'll talk about how to do some networking, how to get, some further exploration into certain careers of interest so that hopefully, as you're getting ready to graduate and move on, then it's more time for that ACT piece, which is like actively applying for jobs and interviewing. As we sort of support you at every step along the way. And the other important piece of this is we believe this is sort of an iterative process. So we want to teach you the skills that you can use for the rest of your life because your needs and your wishes will change, 5, 10, 20 years from now. Maybe you want to have a career pivot. If you kind of understand how this process of sort of self-reflection, exploration works, preparing and then taking action, we think those are skills you'll be able to use for the rest of your life. So let's talk a little bit about the services that we're able to offer at the Career Center. I would say that the most common way that students will first access our services is through one-on-one career coaching. Those are 30-minute appointments that students are able to schedule. And in those appointments, we can sort of talk about anything. So it can be a really specific question about a resume or a certain job you're trying to apply to, or it can be some of those other questions we're talking about where, I'm not sure what I want to do with the rest of my life. You sort of can decide what those conversations will look like. Those are also, usually if it's the first step, if you're trying to find a job on campus and you need that kind of support, we would usually recommend that you would start with one of those one-on-one career coaching sessions. We also provide workshops. So those are sort of larger group settings where we'll cover a particular topic, like how to improve your networking skills or how to work on your resume. We also offer career fairs. We tend to do those by industry area. So early on in the school year, we'll have a career fair that focuses on, business, finance, and consulting. We'll bring employers onto campus. Those are opportunities to talk to employers about sort of more short-term things like internships, and then longer-term career planning as well. And then finally, we have a ton of digital resources on our website. So even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you decide now is the time that you really want to start updating your resume, all of that is available to students for whenever they're ready to access them. So the point I want to make, I talked a lot about, this idea of the one-on-one career coaching. What I think is great for Messina College students is that you will be assigned a career coach from the Career Center who is just focused on Messina College students. So they will have an understanding of what the curriculum's like, what the different majors there are. They'll really get to know the students. They'll be able to provide that really customized support. But the students at Messina College will have access to that career coach. In addition, they will also have access to all of the other career coaches at the Career Center. So we have sort of industry-specific coaches who have expertise in these specific industries. So you can see here, they're listed on this slide. So it could work that you work with a Messina College career coach, and then together you decide that, based on what your career interests are, what your needs are, you may benefit from a more customized meeting with one of these career coaches, and we're happy to connect you with those coaches as well. So I think what a lot of students are probably pretty excited about, which I'm pretty excited about for the Messina College students, is the internship that's going to be offered in year 2 that's related to your major. What's cool about this is that it is going to be combined with an internship course taught by the career coach for Messina College. And that means you'll get all the support you need preparing for the, so getting your resume ready for the internship. If there's an interview piece, preparing for that. Although we're committed to getting students connected with an internship, there will sort of be that selection process that students will probably want support with. So we'll be able to do that. And then I think because there's a course that's associated with it, students will get support throughout the internship as well. So if any questions pop up about how to deal with a supervisor or how to get the most out of the internship, how to identify mentors, how to, do some networking, things like that, that will all be covered during the course. And so students will sort of get that support throughout. The internships, I think, are going to be about 10 to 12 hours per week, and they'll last for the entire fall semester. I also want to make the point that this is a really significant benefit for a second-year student, because there's not too many programs at Boston College that sort of guarantee an internship component with it. Many of the first and second year students that I meet with, it can be challenging to find an internship. You have to put a lot of work into it. Sometimes they come a little bit easier by the time you're in your third year. So the fact that you can kind of know that you'll have that piece, I think is a huge benefit. And, there's no way it's not a good experience, in that even if it's not exactly what you love, you're going to learn about maybe what you want to try next time is a little bit different, or you maybe didn't love it, but you were able to identify a great mentor. In many cases, students will use the opportunity to confirm the interest that they already had. So I'm really excited for this opportunity for our students. So now I want to just go through a couple of the resources that students, I would say, most often use. So Handshake is probably one of the first platforms that will encourage you to get on in late summer, early fall. This is the platform where you'll be able to schedule a one-on-one coaching appointment. It's also where we post all of our events. So if there's a career fair or there's a workshop offered, it will be on Handshake. It is also where you can find jobs and internship opportunities. And it's also where students can find jobs for after graduation. So it's sort of like your one-stop shopping for everything you'd want to be prepared for with the Career Center. The other really popular platform with students is Eagle Exchange. Many of you are probably familiar with LinkedIn. It works a little bit like that. It's a networking platform, but is just focused on the Boston College community. So we have alumni who opt into this. So unlike LinkedIn, where there's a ton of people on there and you can reach out to do some networking, those people haven't necessarily opted in to act as a support. So the alumni who are on Eagle Exchange are specifically on there to support current Boston College students. And so this is something we encourage students to connect with. It's a great way to learn about maybe a job that or an occupation that you're curious about, or an industry that you're curious about. You can sort on here you can look for people based on the location that they're in, the employer that they work for, the industry. You can sort by identity on here. So there's lots of ways to connect with people. And students have had a lot of success with identifying people, even if it's just for, a 15-minute Zoom to learn a little bit more about a certain company. That's a way to do this. So it kind of runs the spectrum from sort of those one-off conversations to sort of a deeper mentorship type relationship that can emerge. So this is something that we definitely encourage students to take advantage of while they're here. This is another very popular resource for all Boston College students. So we have here at the Career Center what we call our career closet. So you can make an appointment on Handshake to come in, and you can come shopping in our closet. It's mostly, we say new and gently used, but most of it is new with the tags on. And you can come take a blazer or take a belt. You can take up to 3 pieces per academic year. The idea is that it's in preparation for something professional. So either a job interview or a networking session, or if you're going to a career fair and you feel like you don't have anything that's appropriate to wear, we encourage you to come visit our closet. And like I said, you can take up to 3 pieces per year, and then you can come back each year to get additional pieces if you need them. Our other very popular resource is our photo booth. So this is where if you need a headshot for your LinkedIn account or for any of your other profiles, you can come in, make an appointment again on Handshake, and you can come in and you sort of do it all yourself. So you don't even need to work with a staff person to do it. And then we'll help you. It'll send the picture right to your phone and you can upload it onto your LinkedIn or other account. And so these are, I'm going to put a plug in for our student workers. That's who these people are. And so we also hire students at the Career Center. So if it sounds like a place you might like to work, we also hire about 10 to 12 students each semester to work with us at the Career Center. The other thing I want to say too, I just thought of it because this is the picture of our building. We are located on the Chestnut Hill campus, and so we hope all of the Messina students come visit us there, but we also are going to have a presence on the Brookline campus. The career coach will be based there and so students will have plenty of access in that way as well. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Tara, and our presenters. Students, I'll give you a couple minutes. If you have some questions, feel free to put them into the Q&A. And while you're doing that or not doing that, that was very thorough. So maybe we've answered all of their questions. I do just want to mention that there will be a job fair planned on July 11th. And so if you're wondering when am I going to find these jobs on campus, when and how will I find them? Right after you move in, that week after you move in, there's plenty of stuff planned for you to keep you busy. Your head is going to spin, but one of those things is a job fair. And so we'll be having employers from all over campus who are prepared to hire students come and chat with you, and you can walk around and get a sense of what jobs might be available. A student just asked, can we apply for a position before arriving on campus? Eriliza, do you want to answer that question?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. You, as soon as academic year job listings become available in early June, to start in the fall, you can certainly look into any opportunities ahead of time and apply for these positions prior to starting. Absolutely. That's usually how the process works. You look for available job postings on the website that are listed and then apply for these positions, contact the department, make sure that this is a job that you'll like to take and you're being hired for this position, and then complete the required onboarding documents that I've talked about, and then start at a later date that you and your employer agree with.
And, just to kind of go off of that, yes, it's possible that there'll be plenty of jobs posted in the early summer for the fall. There are also jobs, I would imagine, that we posted throughout the summer and as we get closer to the fall. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely, because as jobs become available, that the earliest date that they'll be available is early as June, but more job postings will be posted throughout the summer. Oh, absolutely.
Great, yeah, and so I mentioned that just so that, July 11th, we are planning a job fair, but that does not mean those are all of the jobs that will exist at Boston College for the entire academic year, just so keep that in mind. I don't see any other questions coming in. Presenters, anything else you want to add before we sign off for the evening? Thank you so much for all this information. As always, you are always welcome to reach out to our office at Messina College at bc.edu, or any of us here. You know our names now. Feel free to reach out with questions. We have one final webinar that will be coming up on June 5th, and that one is about getting ready to move to campus. This is, I would say, working on campus in jobs in general is our second most popular topic that we get from students. The first is, what do you mean I have to live on campus? And what do I have to bring with me? And what does that mean? And what does that look like? And what is orientation? And do I have to go? And what happens there? And so all of those questions will be answered on June 5th. I'll also say, please make sure you're continuing to check your emails, both your email you applied with, and at this point, also your Boston College email. There's plenty of information that you'll be getting over the next few weeks about how to prepare to move to campus. And so we hope to see you on June 5th. Happy to answer your questions then. Otherwise, thank you again to our presenters for taking the time to chat with our incoming students. And we hope to see you on June 5th. Thanks so much. Have a nice evening.